So today we shall continue with superposition theorem. This is the another method by which we are expected to compute the current in any path or voltage across any two points in a network which consists of multiple voltage sources and multiple resistances. So we discussed, so right now we are in the last phase today. There are other techniques also. There is a new concept of current source, but right now we will not be touching it. We will confining our discussion to the superposition theorem. So by various method, everybody of you will now be well equipped to calculate the current in any path or voltage across any two points in an electric circuit which may consist of multiple voltage sources and multiple resistances connected in any fashion. Using Kirchhoff's laws we can do it. Obviously Ohm's law is assumed to be there. Thevenin's theorem we discussed yesterday. Today we shall discuss superposition theorem, and then I will assign some problems in the form of assignment where you are expected to compute the voltage or current asked by all these three methods for a given problem and just compare that the results match with each other. So superposition theorem is very simple. Superposition theorem states that when you have multiple sources in a circuit and you are expected to compute current or maybe voltage, current through a given resistance, in that case you can do it separately. Thevenin's theorem was something which was new, a fundamental theme, but superposition theorem is a common sense, considering one at a time. So the current I here will be current because of this 10 volts separately and 4 volts separately. The current I, I explain it in simple words. Today we shall end this because the part which we had discussed of voltage sources and resistances and finding currents is very simple. In fact, had it been a face-to-face discussion, we would not have required this much time also. And after this, we are expected to migrate to a new phenomenon of which next part is RC circuits, where the concept of differential equation comes. It's really requiring what we can say some kind of analytical mind. So today we shall just wind up in the sense that it is very simple. So the total current or the current which will flow through this, if it is I, then one can say that it is summation of two independent currents which would have flown through this if one of the voltage sources was active at that time and other voltage source was 0 volts. 0 volt voltage source is equivalent to a short. I am avoiding expressing the classical definition of superposition theorem, which we will take a look at some later stage. As I have already stated in the beginning, the sequence of contents which we discuss in the class is not necessarily exactly same as in the syllabus, but it is collected from the syllabus in such a manner that understanding becomes simpler. So superposition theorem, take one source, short all other sources, compute the current, call it as, suppose if V1 is active, call it as I1, then make V2 active, first source at 0, call it as I2, and it would be total current would be summation of these two. For the same problem, yesterday we noted down that the current I is 0.1. So we know that the answer is 0.1. Now we just verify it by drawing two circuits for the a given circuit with one voltage source acting at a time and other being replaced by a 0-volt voltage source. 0-volt voltage source is a short. 0-volt voltage source is a short. So it becomes somewhat simpler in the sense that this one, then 10 volt, 40 ohms, this short. This we call as I1. This 40 ohms, this 50 ohms. This we call as I1. So how will you compute I1? You will compute I1 by using now Kirchhoff's laws you can use, or you can use by simple common sense, that is series parallel combination of resistances and connecting them to each other, and Ohm's laws. So 50 and 40 in parallel, 50 and so you need to compute I1. 50 and 40, you may use now any methods. You must only know Ohm's law, Kirchhoff's law, that's all. So 40 parallel 50, 40 parallel 50 is 40 parallel 50 resistance corresponds to simple 40 into 50 upon 40 plus 50. That is 2000 by 90 or 200 by 9 ohms. 200 by 9 ohms. So this is 200 by 9 ohms. So this 40 and this 200 by 9 ohms will be in series. So total resistance would be 40 plus 200 by 9, that is equal to 360. It's simple high school level calculation. 560 by 9 is resistance in this circuit. 10 volt is the voltage source. So to this current we can give it name as IT, because this I value, so you don't use same subscript anywhere. So IT would be, remember that I am just completing it because nobody of you should think that it is left incomplete, otherwise it is self-completing. IT is equal to 10 upon 560 upon 9, that is equal to 90 upon 560, that is equal to 9 upon 56 amperes. Total current IT will be 9 upon 56 amperes. It would be 9 upon 56 amperes. So this is IT. So what would be I1? Like voltage divider rule, there is a current divider rule. In voltage divider rule, what we have got? In voltage divider rule, when you want to take voltage across this R2, if this total voltage is V, then voltage across this is, and this R1, R2 upon R1 plus R2 into V. Whereas in current divider rule, it is simple one. If the total current is IT, then current through this is equal to this upon this plus this into, so I1 would be, I think nobody should complain that it is a fast rate, because it is very simple. High school level content, we are at an engineering college. So the current I1 would be 40 upon 50 plus 40 into 9 upon 56, that is equal to 4 by 9, 40 upon 9, 90 is 4 by 9 into 9 by 56, that is equal to, 9 gets cancelled, 4 upon 56, That is 1 upon 40. 1 upon 40. When 10 volt voltage source is active, the current would be 1 upon 40. Now, so is it clear? So I1 is equal to, we write somewhere else. I will not, actually we can find the next answer very quickly, but I will refrain and I will go stepwise. So now there should not be any complaint that you rubbed it out, sir, because we were yet to see the contents. Now you can pause, you can go back and watch. So I1, I will write down somewhere else. I is equal to, by I1 plus I2, where I1 is the current when V1 is active and this is shorted, and I2 is the current when V2 is active and this is shorted. So here I1, what I have found out is 1 by 40. Now how to find I2? Just make it, and remember I1 is in this direction, that is it is positive, so it is in the same direction. So this I will short, this is 4 volts. Now only thing is that everything will reverse. In that case what will happen now? In that case everything will remain same. There is a complete symmetry as regards, why symmetry? Because this is 40, this is 40, this is 50. These two being symmetric, you compute this, I will say as I2. So I2 will compute, I give this task to you, you can independently compute, or I think the same is, this I will call as IT now. This IT will here would be the 40, 50, same parallel and 200 by 9. So 200 by 9 plus this 45, 60 by 9. So it will be 4 upon 560 upon 9. In earlier case it was 10 upon this, now it is 4 upon, so it will be 36 upon 560. 36 upon 560, I will keep it as it is, and then I2 would be equal to 40 upon same 40 plus 50 into 36 upon 560, that corresponds to 4 by 9 into 36 by 560. So I write on this side. So I2 is equal to 9 into 4 is 36. So 16 upon 560. I2 is equal to 16 upon 560. I try to make it further simpler. 16 when I say, I get 4 upon 140. And I keep 4 upon 140 as it is. What was I1? 1 upon 140. Actually, it will be getting simplified to 2 upon 70. It will be we can say 2 upon 70. It's okay, no problem. So I2 is equal to 2 upon 70. So what is I? I is equal to 1 upon 14 plus 2 upon 70, that is equal to 5 upon 70, 5 upon 70 plus 2 upon 70, that is equal to 7 upon 70, it is 0.1. So I is 0.1, which is tallied. So I think now it is right time for us to conclude the discussion regarding the simpler part of the first module. So in circuit theory, I had already told you at the beginning that we will deal with 5 terms rigorously without much details being known after their pseudo understanding. That is electric voltage. In fact, there are 6 terms. Electric charge, because everything comes from electric charge, which itself is a complex phenomenon. So electric charge, electric voltage, electric current, resistance, capacitance, inductance, or we use resistor, capacitor, inductor terms. So out of these 6 terms, charge we will not be dealing so frequently. Some or other times we are required to mention. Inductor also will not be referring so frequently. So most of the contents of our discussion will be confined to voltage, current, resistor, capacitor. In voltage, voltage source, current source is there, but we will not be discussing right now. So a voltage source, a connection of a battery or a voltage source, resistors and capacitors. So in the first chapter we even did not include capacitors. So first chapter was very simple in this sense. We simply dealt with voltage sources and resistors and various combinations and how to simplify the circuits and how to find out currents in various paths or voltages, obviously across any 2 points in a given circuit when it consisted of multiple voltage sources, multiple resistances and their complex interconnections. So I hope that it is enough for us. Otherwise now there is star data transformation, there are some other theorems. So what I will supply to you another set of material which you can go through on your own and get few concepts clarified. I do not think that we should spend time on these things at this juncture. Instead, a very new phenomenon which is fundamental in this subject, which leads to the concept of differential equations. We will go through it. So we will be discussing now second module, RC circuits. Second module, RC circuits. So we remember that we have weekly 3 lectures. We are just completing the requirement, but very soon what I will do is I will upload 1 lecture almost every day, which you can watch at your comfortable time. Because of this recording facility, now there is a freedom for us to go at a very slow speed, covering the details required irrespective of how much hours are specified for it in the syllabus. Now we go for RC circuits, and it is very resistance capacitance circuits. Resistance, resistor and capacitor are there in the circuit, and we make various interconnections. So now what we deal with? Voltage source, resistor and capacitor. We will be dealing with voltage source, resistor and capacitor. This is a very classical phenomenon. It existed for many 3-4 centuries. The technology of resistor, capacitor and battery discussion, even AC, is enough mature, and even when such computing tools which are there today were not there, at least for last 2-3 centuries, the discussion of this phenomenon has been there, widely covered. Even if you go through, I think you can go through some textbooks in the last century, because last century is just like 20 years ago. So if just out of curiosity, if you go through some book published in 1800 something, 1850 or so. We had our engineering education in Maharashtra with College of Engineering Pune starting as a school in 1854. So if you, abroad it was much earlier. So if you go through some books published in 1800s, 19th century, 1850, 1830 or so, still you will find that there is very detailed discussion of RC circuits, very perfect analysis. It is very reasonably seasoned and matured branch. Even today that text remains same. However, despite such completely matured, completely seasoned, completely developed theme in electrical engineering, understanding of capacitor itself is one of the very complex phenomena, and if we go through some difficult concepts which have been found very much complicated, confusing to understand in engineering, then this RC circuit happens to be one of them. The first module what we discussed, voltage, source and resistances. It was simple, it led to simple equations, Kirchhoff's laws, Ohm's law, maybe superposition theorem, maybe Thevenin's theorem, was straightforward equations. One equation giving directly answer or two simultaneous equations, when solved we were getting answers. So what I say, it was just like high school days. The first module is like high school days where everything was directly connected to each other in terms of linear equations and we could solve them. Now, the concept of, I think that when calculus started in junior college days, you might be wondering why at all this nonsense discussion of differentials and integrals is there, where exactly it is being applied, and why we learn differential equations, why at all a differential equation should be learned, where exactly this differential equation comes into picture. And in that context, this RC circuit is one where we are required to deal with differential equations. However, the problem is in especially electrical engineering, electronics engineering, where the concept of electric charge is there. So electric charge, now from this point onwards, I would like to appeal to everybody to listen everything with full concentration. Then will you say that does it mean that even if we had not having enough concentration till this point, is it okay? Don't go in what we can say reverse logic, but I would like to appeal to everybody to have more concentration now onwards. So the problem is we deal with electric charge, electric voltage and electric current with the help of voltage sources, resistance and capacitance. So electric charge, electric voltage and electric current, all these three terms are such that these are the parameters which now you might have been also discussing civil engineering, mechanical engineering and electrical engineering. Electronics engineering is considered to be confined to electrical engineering. So civil, mechanical and electrical, which are considered to be the conventional branches, in that civil and mechanical seem to be very simple, whereas electrical engineering, which consists of these terminologies, voltage, current, charge, is somewhat difficult. What is the reason? The reason being the parameters which we deal with in mechanical engineering is force, pressure, mass, size, same in civil engineering. So in civil and mechanical engineering, The parameters which we deal with are all such parameters, sometimes temperature also. So, length, mass, that is weight, we can say interchangeably, and temperature, all these are pressure, such parameters which are perceivable by human beings' sensory organs. I explain it in Marathi. I expect that everybody should give very focused attention now onwards. सिव्हिल इंजिनिअरिंग आणि मेकॅनिकल इंजिनिअरिंगमध्ये गोष्टी सोप्या वाटतात, सोप्या आहेत असं कदाचित नसेल देखील, पण सोप्या वाटतात कारण का की त्या दोन इंजिनिअरिंग फील्ड्समध्ये आपण ज्या गोष्टीशी डील करतो, ज्या गोष्टी आपण अनुभवतो, ज्या गोष्टींशी आपण काही अभ्यास करतो, त्या सगळ्या गोष्टीमध्ये जे जे काही टर्मिनॉलॉजी येतात, काही शब्द येतात, व्याख्या येतात की ज्यामध्ये की ज्यांची अनुभूती ही मनुष्याच्या ज्ञानेंद्रियाशी संबंधित आहे. पंच ज्ञानेंद्रिय जी म्हणलेली आहे, तर आवाज असेल, काही याच्यामध्ये येतो, डोळ्याला दिसतं, वजन त्वचेला किंवा हाताला जाणवतं, टेम्परेचर जाणवतं. तर टेम्परेचर, प्रेशर, साईज, वेट या सगळ्या ज्या गोष्टी आहेत त्या मनुष्याच्या थेट ज्ञानेंद्रियांना जाणवणाऱ्या आहेत. परंतु इलेक्ट्रिकल इंजिनिअरिंगमध्ये ज्या टर्मिनॉलॉजीज आहेत, ज्या गोष्टींशी आपला संबंध येतो, ती चार्ज, व्होल्टेज आणि करंट या तीनही गोष्टी मनुष्याच्या थेट ज्ञानेंद्रियाच्या आकलन शक्तीच्या पलीकडच्या आहेत, त्या न जाणवणाऱ्या आहेत. अँड बिकॉज ऑफ दॅट प्रॉब्लेम ऑकर्स. देअरफोर टू गिव्ह यू द फर्स्ट example of moving from simple linear equations to linear differential equations, which is crux of RC circuits. Since years together, I prefer to give a simple example of water level model. In fact, this should have been given before the beginning of the first chapter itself, but voltage, resistance and current was very easy, and to explain that it was not required. But to have good understanding of RC circuits, it is my firm conviction that the water level analogy model of electrical circuits must be explained to every student so that he is able to visualize something, because the things there, water flow is understood, actual water can be understood, water level can be understood. Voltage, you might have heard in some context, voltage level किंवा विद्युत दाबाची पातळी असं कुठेतरी तुम्ही ऐकलं असेल. So voltage is somewhat connected to level, current is anyway flow, and charge is quantity. Actual water is charge, water flow is current, and water level is voltage. Vidyut dab, voltage also considers electric pressure, something like. So pressure or level is related to level, because with gravity level leads to pressure. So if we go for a remember that the example which I am discussing today is such simple level example that everybody has to understand. If you listen, you will understand. Whether you want to understand or not. This is forced understanding. Only willful thing required is listening. So we develop a very simple thing. We go for equivalent models of first resistor circuit, Ohm's law, and then RC circuit. So I think each one of you will go through this discussion with full attention. So it's very simple. I am using so simpler terms. It is available now in public domain. If somebody watches, he will say, "Oh, why you are making it too simple? It's too simple." I am making it simple to such an extent that a student has to understand it. So on electrical side, electrical circuit and water level model. On electrical circuit, what do we have? We have a very first electric charge. What is electric charge? Is not a very simple question to be answered. Right now, I am refraining myself from. In fact, giving lecture is a challenge for me in the sense that I find it difficult to decide where to stop. Because the electric charge itself is not so easy to understand. Anyway, right now we don't go to the details. On this side, equivalent on water level model, water itself. Then there is electric current. What is current? It is time rate of flow of charge through a cross section. Through a cross section of wire, how much charges flow per unit time. So it is water flow in a pipe. From a pipe, how much water passes within given time. And then there is electric voltage. Then we have water level. Here I will use one more term, water quantity. So electric charge is water quantity, electric current is water flow, electric voltage is water level. So charge is quantity, current is flow, voltage is level. So these three equivalent terms we have defined. Now with this, we will define what is Ohm's law equivalent in water level model. It's a very difficult question which I have asked. How you will, now there is one more term. These are the parameters. Now we have studied one circuit, we have studied one component, that is resistor, and connecting wires. Connecting wires are said to be superconductors. So what are equivalent? Connecting wires would be pipes with sufficient large diameter so that the extent with which they oppose is negligible. And resistor is equivalent to what? Resistor is opposing the flow to a large extent, and which you can change. Now, when there was a live there is a good advantage of live lecture and recorded lecture. In a live lecture, when a question is asked during the lecture and if it is immediately answered, it kills the curiosity of the students of arriving at the answer. Therefore, if question is asked, we must give some time for students to think, say 3-4 minutes, and then teacher should tell the answer. If teacher tells the answer immediately, curiosity is killed, and killing of curiosity is the biggest crime which takes place in teaching learning process. So curiosity should not be killed. So if we decide to preserve curiosity, teachers to ask the question, wait for some time, then the time in which everybody understands, gets the answer is different. So those who have got the answer think that my time is wasted. But in recorded session, it's very easy. Now, I have asked a question equivalent to resistor on water level side that I have asked. I will write the answer here. Now what I do, I want you to find the answer. So what I suggest is, now you should pause the video, assuming that you are continuously watching it and attending it attentively. You pause the video, you think for 2-3 minutes, and when you get the answer or you come to a conclusion, no, I am not getting the answer, then restart the video. So I will write the answer without making any pause. You pause the video and then start, so that both purposes of saving of time as well as preserving curiosity are achieved. So water level equivalent of resistor is a valve. So now I think I rub it out now. There is no need to ask, should I rub it out? Because those who want can just go back and see the whiteboard. So now, this is very important. I think that this will give rise to a very simple understanding of very complex circuits. That's what my perception is. Whether my perception is correct or not, that you will judge after some time. So, this is a simple circuit. Say given voltage V, given resistance R, some current flows, I is equal to V upon R. This is Ohm's law. If we increase voltage, current will increase. If we increase resistance, current will decrease. If we decrease resistance, current will increase. So, this is simple electric circuit. Now, I want you to develop its water level model. So, there must be some reference water level called as zero level. This is, we say 0. Then electric battery is providing a constant higher voltage. So point A and point B. Point B always maintains a higher voltage level of V volts. Suppose if V is equal to 2 volts, then electric potential of point A is always 2 volts more than point B. If we say point B is 0, then point A is 2 volts. If point B is at some different voltage, then point A is at that plus 2 volts. Then what we should have in water level model, you just construct something, there is level difference L, there is level difference L, pipes would be always required, valve will be required, and there will be flow. So valve will have its opening, which we say O. O is opening. O is opening. So depending upon opening of the, or sorry, I just O is opening, but if we say opening, it is like conductivity. So we use the term O, but not for opening, but for opposition. So it becomes equal to resistance. So there is a like resistance which is having a parameter R, that is resistor is having its parameter which is opposing the current is R. Like that, valve is having a parameter called as opposition. Less opening, more opposition, more opening, less opposition. So a parameter called as opposition equivalent to resistance is O. So in that case, what would be flow F would be level upon opposition. Flow is level upon opposition. So this would be water level equivalent of demonstrating Ohm's law. Water level equivalent of demonstrating Ohm's law. Then how do we construct this? How you can maintain what would be so what is equivalent to resistor? Valve. What is equivalent to connecting wires? Pipe. What is equivalent to electric battery is something which is not so easy. Now you make a pause in your video for some time and think on this, and after that you restart the video where I am explaining what is exact equivalent in water level model for a voltage source or a battery. What is voltage source? Voltage source keeps the voltage of one point always at fixed elevated value than that of other point. So battery maintains that potential of point B, actually I should have written A and B, but anyway that it doesn't matter. Voltage of point B must be 2 volts more than voltage of point A. Like that, I should be able to have I should maintain the level difference of one point with respect to other point in water level model. Now you take a pause, and after you think on your own, either get the answer, then restart the video to verify the answer. If you don't get the answer, then restart the video to listen the answer. Maintaining constant level difference in water level model is tricky. So what you can have, you will be having a municipal water supply available continuously, to assume it is a continuously available water pipe, water tube. Then you can have upper tank, and you can have a lower tank. So what happens is because of this continuously available water, water of this tank is maintained at this level. So here there is a constant feed, here there is a constant drain. Because of this constant drain, actually there is no need to have drain at this. You can have drain some at a different point also, it's not so important. So this would be zero level then. Or you can have, or with reference to this, if this is zero level, it is L1, it is L2, and difference would be L2 minus L1. But if you want it to be zero, then if you maintain this as zero level, then the lower tank maintains water level at zero, and this is L. So this is a constant drain, this is a constant feed, this is valve opening position O, this is upper feeder, upper feed. I avoid using word tank because I will be using it in different context. This is upper source, lower drain we can use, or there is no need to mention anything. So what will happen here? Irrespective of whether this valve is open or valve is closed, anything, continuous water will be available here and water will go away here. So this tank or this unit will always maintain level. So this I say point B, and this is point A. So point B, point A, connecting wire, pipe, connecting wire, pipe, valve, resistance. So this is flow. So equivalent to Ohm's law, there is a law in water level model that flow is equal to level difference upon opposition, just like V I is equal to V upon R, like that flow is equal to level difference upon opposition, and that also you can very easily verify. Now if this valve is completely closed, what will happen? There will be no water here, there will be no water here. So we can say water level A is 0, water level B is L, because water comes, water drains from this, it is what we can say overflow tap, so it always maintains level L. Now if you open this valve, what will happen? Some water will flow here and a constant water level is maintained and water will come out. You can either put a flow meter or you can measure using measuring flask and have it clock. So what will happen now? If this valve is closed more opposition, less flow. So this flow you can measure by putting a flow meter here or by actually collecting water from this drain and measuring using time. So if opposition is more, flow is less. If opposition is less, flow is more. Obviously, if this overflow tab, you take it upwards, L will increase. If L is more, flow is more. So flow is, if L is more, flow will increase. So if this is taken up, flow will increase for given O. For given L, if O is more, flow is less. If O is less, flow is more. So it is exactly describing the equivalent of electric current, that is flow, electric voltage, that is level, and resistance, that is opposition. So current in electricity is flow in water level model, voltage in electricity is level in water level model, resistor in electricity or resistance in electric thing is opposition in water level model. So this is very simple. Now with this we go for very interesting circuit. It's electrically equivalent, I will explain you later, but now I will ask a very interesting question to you, and I am sure that by using common sense, everybody of you will be able to derive that. This is one of very useful independent derivations which you will ever do, which I am sure that you must not have done it. This left hand side thing is same as it is. There is a valve, the tank is filled, the continuous water flow is there inside. It is municipal water, non-stop available, and on the right hand side I take a cylindrical tank with cross-sectional area A. With cross-sectional area A, I take a cylindrical tank. This level is L, the opposition is O, and this is valve, and there is one more stopper. Now listen carefully. The arrangement is here. This is base level or zero level. Base level, or we can say zero level. There is overflow tap. Water is available continuously. The constant level is maintained in this container. I don't use the word tank for some reason. Constant level is maintained in this container. There is a valve whose opening can be adjusted so as its opposition O, if I open it more, O is less. If I open it less, O is more. So the left container consisting maintaining constant level L, the valve maintaining opposition O. You can change it, so L and O are two parameters. Then on the right hand side is a tank. It is cylindrical tank with fixed cross sectional area A throughout. Tank is initially empty. This is stopper, means you know that valve is there and stopper is there. You can stop it or you can open it. The stopper is closed right now. So this is the starting position. So at the starting position, what we have got? A constant level L is maintained in the left container because of the stopper, and since tank was initially empty, there is no water level in the tank. This right hand side tank, there is no water here. The valve is marked at some fixed position, giving